Hey guys, so today I wanted to try to touch on briefly the topic of the Myers-Briggs Typology Indicator, or MBTI. So basically this was a test that was started in order to group people into 16 different personalities, and with that understand their strengths and weaknesses. And what they used as a model was Carl Jung's research on cognitive functions. But there is a lot of information online because it's such a popular test. And a lot of the information and tests that claim to be Myers-Briggs are just very misleading, and I find that it's very easy to mistype. I, for one, mistyped as an ENFJ for a very long time. And the reason being, for me, the reason I know why I mistyped is because I love people, and I can very much present myself as like someone that's extroverted. But at the end of the day, I am an introvert, and I do get my energy from being alone. But that being said, when I would take the tests, because I do like people, the tests are geared towards, they kind of ask leading questions, and a lot of the ones are different, like, let's say, are you 0, 1, 2, 3, or like minus whatever, or that it's like a sliding scale of disagree and agree. And I think that's better than just saying yes or no, but at the same time, it doesn't always have an accurate representation of the person. Also, when people take the test, they will typically which makes sense, a lot of people will go into it just thinking, oh, it's just like this fun personality test that my work made me do, or my class made me do, or I'm doing it because my friend kept on asking me to take the test. And so they'll take the test and they'll get a certain result, and they'll kind of just go by the letter indicators, and they won't really look they won't look further into what the test is actually getting at. That the test is actually using the letter indicators as a basis of understanding, of just like a memory tool in kind of remembering what cognitive functions you actually have. So let's say you don't mistype during the test, which again, a lot of people do, and I would suggest taking it a few times. And also I would just suggest when you do take the test to try to do it as quick as possible. Go with what your gut is telling you. Because I have definitely seen people take the test, and let's say the test says that it's going to take no more than 12 minutes. I've seen people take 30 minutes or longer to take a test, and it's very clear that they're really thinking about what result, or what, let's say the question is, do you fantasize about different worlds? People will kind of try to gauge what that will mean for their results, which is just misleading in general. So try to take it in a timely manner. But yeah, going back, let's pretend like you did take the test and you were not mistyped. Which, good for you. That's that's an awesome thing. I wish that happened to me. It would have saved me a lot of time. But at this point, you will know what your type is, and depending on the different types, So let's say you typed as ESFJ. So what you can find out about the ESFJ is that you'll get like a description. And often on those websites, it's very positive and very stereotypical of what the individual would be. So like for the ESFJ, the stereotype is that, oh, they're very nurturing and motherly kind of people, they care about people, which is probably true, but Myers-Briggs is not a behavioral thing, and people should not treat it as such. Just because someone has a certain inclination doesn't mean they are going to behave as such. So after you're done reading that description, if you really want to understand what your type is, you would need to really look into what the cognitive functions are for that particular type. So for the ESFJ, that personality type leads with extroverted feeling, FE, and that is their primary function. So that function is a very balanced oriented function, harmony based. It's a very objective extroverted function, and it's a feeling function. So that function in general is a very empathetic kind of function. And then their next function, their secondary function, is introverted sensing. And introverted sensing is very it is more of a subjective function, and it has a more internalized view of the world. This function is very much about the past and history and sentimental. And then the tertiary function for an ESFJ would be extroverted intuition. Extroverted intuition, NE, is a function that is very much just like its partner, introverted intuition. Extroverted intuition is abstract, and it likes to see the different paths, the different branches and opportunities, rather than a clear, tunnelized method. And then finally, their weakest function, or their fourth function, is introverted thinking. Introverted thinking is another subjective function, and it's very analytical in its approach. They're very focused on the why and how things are made and the concepts behind a structure. So not so much why this teddy bear was made, but how and what the different things, the components that make up this teddy bear. So that being kind of a silly example, you kind of get at what the different cognitive functions. And I know I just used kind of stereotypical language with that, but it is very important to study the cognitive functions. There are 8 total, and they all come in pairs. So, as you could see with the ESFJ, ESFJs have both extroverted feeling, FE, introverted thinking, TI. They also have extroverted intuition, NE, and introverted sensing, SI. So those are 2 pairs. And then the 2 other pairs that make up other personalities are NI, introverted intuition, and SE, extroverted sensing. And then the last pair is extroverted thinking, TE, and introverted feeling, FI. So I don't know how confusing this video will be. Hopefully it's not confusing, but this is just a kind of quick overview of why I feel like people mistype, and the fact that there is more to it than just the letter indicators, but they are a good tool to remember what your type is. So for me, whenever someone says a type, I know exactly what their cognitive stack is. So if someone says, oh, an ISTJ, I'm going to know that they have SI, and then TE, and then FI, and then NE as their stacking. Or an ENTJ has TE, NI, SE, FI. So all of the types, you'll be able to understand what their cognitive makeup are and why people like myself who are an introvert may seem to be extroverted, or why certain people act, well, maybe not act, but how certain people think in general. And that's where Myers-Briggs, the test, is very helpful, is understanding not only ourselves, but also understanding other people. And for that, again, I hope it wasn't so confusing, but I will go more deep dive into the other, so I can go more deep dive into the cognitive functions and even on the individual types. And I personally, to determine what my type was, like I said, I have mistyped. I have also typed as an INFJ, but what I did is I just put in a lot of research into the cognitive functions. So if I'm able to help anybody out in determining their type through my videos, or if you just want me to help you kind of try to determine what your type is, I can do that. And any kind of other videos you guys want to see from me will be welcome. And yeah, I have a lot of experience with different types. I have examples for each of the types of people that I have in my life currently. And it's really interesting, especially once you start understanding what your friends and family's type are. And for me, for some reason, I have there's certain types that I have more so in my life than others. And that's kind of interesting as well. So I hope you guys are having a great day. I don't know if you guys saw this, but I have Pumpkin on the bed, you probably can't see, and then Fleur is on the ground right now, and she wants my attention. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.